4 years ago, Ethan Reed, a powerful, arrogant millionaire CEO, ended everything with a single message. Delete my number, don't call again. He buried his emotions under luxury success and endless board meetings. But fate doesn't delete that easily. One evening, as his car idled outside a modest suburban home, Ethan wasn't the same man who once chased only profits. He was waiting for someone he'd lost. When the door finally opened, he froze. The woman he once loved stood there, holding the hands of two little children, one boy, one girl, both with his eyes. The empire he built suddenly meant nothing. All he wanted was the family he'd thrown away. The night Ethan Reed sent that message, the city lights blurred outside his penthouse window. Delete my number, don't call again. It was cruel, colder than he meant it to be, but pride has a way of killing softer words. Ava stood in her small apartment miles away, staring at the screen. Her trembling fingers hovered over the phone, eyes wet, heartbreaking. She was pregnant. He didn't know. She had tried to tell him, but he'd been too busy. Another meeting, another deal, another reason to keep love on hold, so she left. No fights, no begging, just silence. 4 years later, Ethan's life looked perfect from the outside. His name was everywhere, on skyscrapers, in magazines, whispered in boardrooms. Yet, every night, when he came home, the silence felt heavier than before. He tried to move on, dated models, signed mergers, built towers, but there was always that same echo, her laugh in his memory, her scent on old shirts he never threw away. Then one afternoon, fate cracked his armor. He was visiting one of his new construction sites in a small town outside the city when his car broke down. Waiting for repairs, he noticed a familiar name on a small preschool signboard, Ava's Kids Learning Place. His chest tightened. Ava. He walked toward the building, not sure why. Maybe curiosity, maybe guilt. Inside, children's laughter filled the room, crayons scattered across tables. A teacher smiled at him, unaware of who he was. And then he saw them. Two children coloring side by side, a little boy with dark brown hair and a girl with curls that framed her face like sunlight. They couldn't be older than 3, but what froze him wasn't their laughter. It was the way the boy looked up, annoyed at a broken crayon, and pouted exactly like Ethan used to. For the first time in years, Ethan felt his knees weaken. He stepped outside before anyone noticed, his heart pounding. Could it be? Could they be his? That night, he sat in his car for hours, searching her name online, her number, anything. But she'd vanished. No social media, no trace, no address. Until 1 week later, his assistant casually handed him a real estate file to sign, a property purchase. And the name on the file nearly stopped his heart. Ava Thompson. Her new home address was right there, the address where he now sat, engine idling, watching through the windshield as lights flickered in a cozy little house. He shouldn't have come, but when he saw a small figure open the door, a woman stepping out with a soft smile and 2 kids running behind her, he forgot everything else. 4 years ago, he told her to delete his number. Now he was the one waiting, hoping she'd open the door again. Ethan didn't know how long he'd been sitting there, the car engine humming quietly, headlights dimmed, eyes fixed on the small home that looked nothing like the world he ruled. His hands were trembling on the steering wheel. For a man who negotiated billion-dollar deals without blinking, knocking on this door felt impossible. He finally stepped out, the cold night air biting at his chest. Every step toward that door was a reminder of what he had ruined, every memory of her smile, every message he ignored, every promise he broke. When his finger hovered over the doorbell, the porch light flicked on, and then the door opened. Ava stood there, holding a mug of tea. Her hair was longer now, softly curling over her shoulders. She froze when she saw him, the color draining from her face. The mug slipped from her hand and shattered on the step. Ethan. His name escaped her lips like a secret she'd buried years ago. He didn't move. Hi, Ava. Her eyes darted past him, nervous, protective. Why are you here? He swallowed hard. I saw your name. I didn't mean to intrude. I just needed to see you. She crossed her arms, hiding the tremor in her hands. 4 years of silence. Ethan. One message, and now this. He couldn't answer. The words, delete my number, echoed in his head like a curse. Then, behind her, small footsteps padded across the hallway. 2 little faces peeked from the corner, curious, cautious. The boy was holding a small toy car. The girl clutched a teddy bear. Ethan froze. His breath caught as he saw them up close, her smile in the girl, his eyes in the boy. Ava quickly turned. Kids, go to your room please. They obeyed. but not before the boy looked back and asked softly, "Mommy, who's that man?" The question sliced through Ethan. He wanted to answer, to say I'm your father, but his voice wouldn't work. When they were gone, Ava stepped outside, closing the door behind her. "You shouldn't have come." "I know," he said quietly, "but when I saw them, I couldn't stay away." Her eyes shimmered. "You have no right to look at them that way. You gave up that right when you told me to disappear." He looked down. "I was angry. Stupid. I thought you'd moved on. I didn't even know that I was pregnant." She snapped. "You would have known if you'd listened instead of walking away every time I tried to speak." The words stung more than he expected. He took a shaky breath. "Ava, I swear, if I'd known." She shook her head, tears falling now. Don't do this. Ethan, we're doing fine. The kids don't need confusion. They don't need a stranger showing up with money and guilt." "I'm not here with money," he said softly. "I'm here because I finally realized what I lost." She looked away, unable to meet his eyes. The porch light flickered again, casting a faint golden glow on her tear-streaked face. "They're good kids," she whispered. "Happy, safe. Don't take that away from them." Ethan took a step closer. "I don't want to take anything. I just want to be part of their world, even if it's from a distance." For a moment, silence hung heavy between them, broken only by the faint laughter of the children inside. Ava sighed, her voice trembling. "You always knew how to make things complicated." He smiled faintly, his eyes wet. "I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. But I needed to see you, to see them, to know they're real." She looked at him long and hard, the man who once broke her heart, now standing like a ghost from another life. "They are real, Ethan, and so is the pain you left behind." He nodded slowly. "Then let me earn back what I destroyed." She didn't answer, only turned to look through the window at her sleeping children. "I don't know if I can let you," she whispered. But something in her tone, soft, uncertain, gave him hope. That night, as he walked back to his car, he didn't feel like the powerful CEO the world knew. He felt like a man stripped down to truth. A father who'd just met his children for the first time. And a lover who'd finally realized what silence had cost him. For the next few days, Ethan couldn't focus on work. Every meeting, every phone call felt meaningless. His empire, the glass towers and polished suits, all looked hollow now. All he could see were two little faces. Two faces that carried pieces of him. He didn't call Ava again. He knew she needed space, but fate didn't seem ready to let him fade again. It started 3 days later, when his driver stopped the car near the same preschool he had once visited. Through the window, he saw the boy Liam chasing a ball that rolled into the street. Ethan's heart stopped. A delivery van was speeding down the road. Without thinking, he jumped out, shouting, "Hey!" and ran forward. He caught the boy's arm just in time, pulling him back to the curb. The ball flew away. The boy froze, wide-eyed, trembling. Ava came running seconds later, panic flooding her face, until she saw who was holding her son. "Ethan," she gasped. He straightened, still breathing hard. "He's okay, just scared." She crouched beside the boy. "Liam, honey, are you hurt?" The little one shook his head, still staring at Ethan. "Mommy, he helped me." Ava looked up, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." He smiled faintly. "He's brave, like his mother." That moment, raw, simple, changed something between them. The anger in her eyes softened into something she didn't want to name. Gratitude? Maybe? Or the painful reminder that he wasn't always the man who broke her. That evening, Ava called him. "They've been asking about you," she said quietly. "Would you like to come by for dinner tomorrow?" Ethan couldn't speak for a second. "I'd love to." When he arrived, the house smelled of home, not luxury, not polish, just warmth. The little girl, Emma, peeked from behind the couch, clutching her teddy. Liam sat on the floor, stacking blocks. Ava stood in the kitchen, nervous but calm. "They know you're a friend?" she said. He nodded, forcing a smile. "That's enough for now." Dinner was awkward at first. The kids stared. Ethan tried too hard. He dropped a spoon, made them laugh accidentally, and by dessert, Emma was sitting in his lap, showing him her drawings. Ava watched quietly. Ethan noticed how her eyes softened every time their kids smiled. It was the first time he'd seen her look like that, peaceful, even if just for a moment. When the kids went to bed, they sat together on the porch. Silence, heavy but no longer angry. "You were good with them," she said softly. "I don't deserve them," he replied, "or you." Ava looked down. "You can't undo the past." "I'm not trying to," he said. "I just want a chance to build something better for them, for you, for us, if you'll ever let me." She didn't answer, but her eyes shimmered under the porch light. I don't know if I can trust you again, Ethan, she whispered. Every time I tried before, you pushed me away. He nodded slowly. Then let me prove it. One day at a time. For the first time in 4 years, she didn't walk away. The next weeks were quiet but healing. Ethan visited often, reading bedtime stories, helping with school runs, learning the messy, beautiful chaos of being a father. He bought nothing expensive, no gifts, no grand gestures, just time, presence, laughter. One evening, as the kids painted messy handprints on paper, Ava watched him smile. Not the CEO's smile, but something gentler, real. For the first time in a long while, she thought, maybe this was what they'd both been missing. But she also knew, the heart remembers what broke it, and forgiveness isn't simple. Still, as she tucked their children into bed, she couldn't ignore the sound of their giggles, or the way her own heart no longer felt as heavy when Ethan was near. For the first time in 4 years, the walls she built to survive began to fall. Ava used to believe that people like Ethan never really changed. Millionaires learned to negotiate, to manipulate, to win, but never to love selflessly. But over the next few weeks, something about him felt different. He wasn't the same man who once said, "Delete my number." He wasn't the arrogant CEO who valued control more than connection. He was quieter now, kinder, present. He showed up every morning to take Liam to school, even if it meant arriving at the office late. He helped Emma with her reading, listening patiently as she stumbled through words. He laughed when she made a mess of the crayons. And every time Ava tried to apologize for the chaos, he just smiled. This is the only kind of mess I ever want. At first, she thought it was guilt. Then she realized it was healing. Ethan wasn't trying to buy back the past. He was living in the present. One rainy evening, Ava found him outside fixing the broken mailbox post. The rain soaked through his expensive shirt, his hair clinging to his forehead. She rushed out with an umbrella. "Ethan, what are you doing? You'll catch a cold." He smiled without looking up. "You said the kids' letters get wet when it rains. I'm fixing that." She stared for a moment, her heart softening. "You don't have to." He looked at her, rain dripping from his lashes, voice quiet. "I want to." Something in that moment broke her completely. The realization that the man standing in front of her wasn't just trying to make up for lost time. He was trying to belong. She stepped closer, holding the umbrella over both of them. "You really changed," she whispered. Ethan's jaw tightened. "I had to. Losing you showed me what success really costs." Her throat tightened. "And what does it cost?" He looked at her gently. "Everything that actually matters." Their eyes locked, and for the first time in 4 years, Ava didn't look away. That night, after the kids were asleep, they sat by the fireplace. The storm outside echoed the one between them, silent, but full of unspoken emotion. Ava spoke first. "You broke me, Ethan. And when you left, I promised myself I'd never let you hurt me again." He nodded, voice trembling. "You have every right to hate me." "I don't," she said softly. "I just don't know if I can trust you." He leaned forward. "Then let me earn it. Every day. You don't have to forgive me now or ever. Just let me stay." Tears shimmered in her eyes. "The kids. They already adore you. I don't want them to get hurt." "I won't leave again," he said, his tone firm, filled with conviction. "Not even if you tell me to. Not until I've proven I'm the father they deserve." Ava covered her mouth to stop a sob. He reached out slowly. But this time, he didn't force anything, he just waited. And she let him hold her hand. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a beginning. A week later, the kids had their first school performance. Ethan sat in the back row, his heart pounding when Liam and Emma walked on stage. Liam was dressed as a little sun, Emma as a cloud, both waving toward the audience. "Daddy, look," Emma called, her voice echoing through the hall. Ava froze beside him. Ethan looked at her, eyes full of tears. "Did she just?" Ava nodded slowly. "She did." He couldn't speak. He didn't even clap, he just watched, completely undone. That one word, "Daddy," hit harder than any boardroom victory ever could. When the show ended, he ran to them. Liam jumped into his arms, Emma wrapped around his leg, and for the first time, Ethan felt complete. He looked at Ava, who stood watching, smiling softly, her eyes glistening. Maybe forgiveness didn't come all at once. Maybe it came in small steps, laughter, and second chances. As they drove home that night, Ava leaned her head against the car window and whispered, "You kept your promise." He glanced at her. "Which one?" "The one you never said that you wouldn't give up this time." Ethan smiled faintly. "I'll never say delete my number again." Ava chuckled through tears. Good. Because now, you're saved under something else. He raised an eyebrow. What's that? She looked at him with a small, loving smile. Home. Months passed, quietly and softly, like the healing of an old wound. The seasons changed. The bitterness between them melted, little by little, replaced by laughter, chaos, and warmth. Ethan moved out of his glass-walled penthouse and into a smaller home just a few streets away. He told Ava it was to stay close to the kids. But deep down, both knew it was because he finally craved the ordinary morning pancakes instead of boardroom breakfasts, bedtime stories instead of late-night deals. Every evening, he'd show up at Ava's door with something new, a half-burnt casserole, a crumpled drawing from Emma, or an extra ticket to Liam's soccer match. Each small moment wove him tighter into their lives. The walls that once separated their worlds began to dissolve completely. One night, Ava found herself standing by the window, watching him play with the children in the yard. Fairy lights glowed faintly along the fence, and laughter echoed into the night air. Liam was chasing fireflies. Emma sat on Ethan's shoulders, reaching for the stars she thought she could touch. And for the first time, Ava let herself smile, not cautiously but fully. It had taken her years to trust again, but what she saw now wasn't the man who once broke her. It was the man who rebuilt her world piece by piece. When the kids finally fell asleep, Ava stepped outside. Ethan was cleaning up toys, hair messy, shirt sleeves rolled up. He looked up and smiled tiredly. "They wore me out," he said with a soft laugh. She walked closer, holding his gaze. "You've changed." He smiled faintly. "You keep saying that." "Because it's true," she said quietly, "and I think I needed to see it for myself." Ethan took a deep breath. "Ava, I don't want to rush you, but I need you to know, I never stopped loving you, not for a single day." Her eyes shimmered. "You said you'd deleted me, remember?" He stepped closer, voice trembling. "And that was the biggest mistake of my life. I can rebuild a company, but I can't rebuild what I had with you unless you let me try." Ava stared at him for a long moment. Her heart, the one that had been shattered years ago, began to beat with something she thought she'd lost forever, peace. "Ethan," she whispered, "if I let you back in, you can't ever walk away again." He shook his head. "Not a chance." She smiled, tears spilling freely now. "Then come home." He froze, realizing what she'd just said. When she reached for his hand, he didn't hesitate. He pulled her close, the kind of embrace that erases years of distance. No grand speech, no diamond ring, just two hearts. Finally in rhythm again. Weeks later, on a quiet Sunday morning, Ethan sat on the porch, sipping coffee. Emma was coloring on his knee. Liam was building a paper airplane. Ava came out holding breakfast pancakes, just like old times. She looked at him and smiled. "You're actually happy doing nothing, aren't you?" He grinned. "Turns out, nothing is everything I ever wanted." Liam ran up suddenly, holding a drawing. "Daddy, look." Ethan took it. It was a picture of all four of them, stick figures under a house. Above it, in Emma's messy handwriting, were 3 words, "Our happy family." He looked at Ava. She smiled softly. "They made it for you." Ethan felt his throat tighten, eyes blurring. "I don't deserve this," he whispered. Ava shook her head. "You earned it." He took her hand. "You know, I used to think success was measured in contracts and profits. But now," she finished for him, "it's in laughter, tiny hugs, and bedtime chaos." They both laughed, and for the first time, there was no pain behind it. The wind brushed softly through the trees. The children's laughter filled the air. And in that moment, Ethan realized something. He hadn't just found love again, he'd found life. That night, as he tucked the kids in, Liam whispered sleepily, "Daddy, are you staying forever?" Ethan smiled, his voice low and sure. "Always." Ava stood by the door, watching quietly as he kissed their foreheads. When he turned to her, she didn't speak, she just reached out her hand. He took it, and together, they turned off the lights. The world outside could keep its riches and power. Inside that small house, the once heartless millionaire had finally found his greatest treasure, the family he'd almost lost forever. What if the man who broke you was the same man destiny sent back when you'd finally learned to live without him? This isn't just another millionaire romance, it's a story of regret, forgiveness, and the kind of love that refuses to die. Watch till the end to feel the twist that will leave your heart trembling. Don't forget to like the video if you believe everyone deserves a second chance. Subscribe for more real emotional love stories that touch the soul. Comment, "Love returns," if you felt Ava and Ethan's pain and healing. Because sometimes, the words we delete Become the ones we can never forget.